Welcome to In 5 Minutes. Now I'll discuss a typedef statement. Basically, typedef is a keyword of C that is used to define a new data type name from existing type. I'll repeat, it is used to define a new name for an existing data type. For a float or a char or a pointer or an array or a structure, we can define a new name. Now what that exactly means, we'll see with example. First, let's see the syntax of typedef statement. First, we write typedef keyword, then we write existing type, which can be any primitive type, pointer type, or even user-defined type like structure, and then we write a new name for that. We specify some new name for that, like a variable name. See, for example, we'll write typedef float and some name amount. So this is typedef, data type is float, and new name given is amount. Now amount is a new name for float, or it is a nickname or alias name for float. So instead of using float in my program, I can use the word amount henceforward. See, for example, I want to define two float variables. I can just define amount a comma b, that stands for nothing but float a comma b. I can define an array of floats by writing amount m 10. So this becomes m is an array of 10 amount variables. It means it's an array of actually 10 float variables. So amount is a new name for float. At the place of float, I can use amount. Same way, I want to make a pointer for float. Yes, it is possible. We can write amount star p. Now p is a pointer of type amount. It means it's a pointer of type float. So for any data type already present or a user defined type, we can have a new name, and we can use that name in a program to define variables, arrays, pointers, etc. Now let's see how we can define it for structures. It is commonly used for defining a new name for complex variables like structures, pointers, arrays, etc. Not for normal variables. Okay, now let's see how to define a typedef for structure over here. Here we have defined a structure A, so obviously it becomes a data type that has two members, number and names. It's a 42-byte user-defined data type. Now for that, I want to define a new name. I can do it like this by writing typedef, then the data type. Here the data type is structure A itself, because structure A becomes a user-defined type, and then I'm writing some name for that. Let's say some name student. So here typedef defines a new name student for structure A. So student will be of type structure A. Henceforward, once I define this, I can define the variables using the word student, because student becomes a new data type. I can just write student A. A is a variable of type student. It means A is a variable of type structure A. It means it's a variable of this type. So A will be variable of 42 bytes holding number and name as members of a structure. So A will be a simply structure variable. So we can first define a structure, and then we can define a new name for that, and you can use that name simply in a program without writing any struct keyword or something. So this is one way of defining new name for a structure. Okay, so the other way of defining a structure data type is like this. Suppose I want to define a structure of same type with number and name as 42 byte of data type. I can write over here typedef, then the keyword struct to start a structure definition, then put the members in curly brackets, and then directly write a name over here. Now the student becomes directly a data type of this structure. Now you can see the syntax here. It is typedef, data type, and new name. Now there is a typedef over here. After that there is a structure data type defined over here, you can see, and then there is a new name for that. So there is a typedef, a structure, and new name for that. So we need not define a structure separately and then define this statement to define a new type. We can directly write new name over here only at the end of the structure. Now this student we can use directly in our program to define structure variables, structure pointers, or structure as function parameters, or structure arrays, and so on. For example, here I can define directly some variable student s comma a. So s and a will be of type student. It means they will be of type this structure. That is how in two different ways you can use typedef command to define a new name for a structure. So basically typedef is used to define new name for any existing type which is built-in type of C, or it can be used to define a new name for a structure or a pointer or an array in our program. That will make our definition of statements very small. Instead of writing struct a variable or struct student something, we can just mention this name, because this becomes a new type of C in that program. Thank you.